the Hyundai team. And in fact, we're going to hear from the other Gabriele Rizzo at the BRC competition team.
The crowd is going completely insane. The Hungarian fans here for Norby. Gabriele Rizzo, you had a tough time as a team in Marrakesh, but obviously fantastic result for Gabriele. So will it be better for Norby this weekend?
Yeah, you see the crowds of people, so he deserves to have a perfect weekend. We hope that will be like this, at least good like the Gabriele one, and so perhaps it will be a team results even better than one of Morocco.
When we spoke to Norby after FP2, he was a little disjointed, maybe a little bit unhappy with how the car's feeling confident that he could possibly get a podium at a pole position.
Yeah, okay. In FP2 there was a little bit of traffic. This disturbed a little bit his performance, but the feeling was really good. So the list of cars is really long because 26 on the track, and we have to take account of this and to be also smart in managing the time in which we go on the track. So it will be.
Gabriele Rizzo, the team boss of BRC competition. They are running the cars for Norbert Michaelis, the home hero. And you'll see an awful lot of Norby shirts, flags and hooters here. Lots of cheering for him. And also Gabriele Tarquini, who won race 1 and race 3 in Marrakesh, was on pole position for race 3 as well. So gained 5 extra points for that, the championship leader. Norby, though, Harry, had all the new car problems of the Hyundais foisted on him. A wheel sheared off in one session. He had a total electrical failure in one session. The engine let go and had a small fire under the car in one of the races. You know, everything that could have gone wrong with any of the 4 cars went wrong with his. So he does need to bounce back here at home. He's got a big wave of popular support to try and help him.
Yeah, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You know, you develop a new car and you're going to have a few teething problems. He was obviously just really unlucky that they all happened to be on his car, and hopefully here for his home round he won't have any of the same problems again this weekend.
27 cars on track. Team Mulsanne fielding 2 of the Alfa Romeo Giulietta TCRs. I said 147 earlier, Giulietta. And there are a pair of Peugeots. Everything else, there's a pair of Golf GTIs run by Sebastian Loeb Racing. Everything else is in greater multiples. There are more Cupras, more Hondas and more Audis. So we've got half a dozen different car names, 27 different cars, 5 Hungarian drivers on the grid. Answers on a tweet, please. Is there an FIA race series that has had more than 5 Hungarian drivers in the field? I can't think of one. We've obviously got Norbert Michaelis. We've got Norbert Nagy, Daniel Nagy. We have got Zsolt Szabo and Attila Tassi, the youngest of the lot at just 18 years old. Zengo Motorsport running 2 cars. Zoltan Zengo, of course, the man who brought Norbert Michaelis first to the Seat Leon Euro Cup and then to World Touring Cars. And he's doing the same now with another couple of drivers, bringing on young drivers and young engineers. Tyre stacks being put back into place after our last race. One-make challenge for Kia, something or others. Small Kias, whatever's smaller than a seed. Harry and I were scratching our combined heads and coming up with no answers to what the smaller Kia is. However, we know what these are. The new Hyundai i30, one of the newest TCR cars in the business. The car designed by Andrea Adamo, man who's responsible for a lot of successful touring cars. And 2 of them run the white cars by YMR, Ivan Muller Racing, and the kind of sky blue with orange, which is the Hyundai Motorsport colours. They're run by BRC competition. There's Tassi's car, Attila Tassi, 18-year-old Hungarian. Car being run under the KCMG banner, a well-known team in sports car racing. This is a really early venture into touring cars for them. They're running a pair of cars for him and Great Britain's Josh Files in TCR Europe, which starts at Zolder next week, I believe. But he is having a one-off outing here as one of the 2 wild cards. The other one is Daniel Nagy, who last year and the year before raced with Zoltan Zengo's team in World Touring Cars. And Daniel Nagy is also running in European TCR Championship, but run by Myra, which is the team set up by Norbert Michaelis. So Norby's racing team Well, there are the championship standings after the first race weekend of the season and ever in the FIA WTCR World Touring Car Cup. Gabriele Tarquini coming away with a real hatful of points from Marrakesh, and the man who leads the championship. And as you can see, the various different manufacturers there: Honda, Audi, Peugeot, Cupra, which is that sort of odd triangular logo that you saw there, and Hyundai. Well, we'll have a short call to start the session. Cars should have been on track at 12:30, which was just 2 or 3 minutes ago, and a couple of minutes ago. And so as soon as the tyre stack is back in the correct position, then we will be ready to go. 30-minute session, and this is straightforward, old-fashioned, old-school qualifying, Harry, where probably the last man across the line ends up on pole position. That's not the actual rule, but that's the way it's likely to go, because that's likely to be where the fastest lap comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we know, the track temperature is on the increase now. It's 45 degrees out there on circuit, but 23 degrees ambient, so it is definitely getting warmer. It depends on what people do tyre strategy-wise, but like you say, as the track rubbers in a little bit, and you know, just timing your perfect lap and making sure you get yourself a bit of space out there and get a clear lap in.
And that's one of the areas where the championship is likely to be at least partially decided, is how good the teams are, how good their engineering is to get the car in the sweet spot every time, but also to make sure that when you get to the end of the qualifying session and the car's coming in, has to have the tyres and get out and get round to the stripe in 3 minutes, that you have the tyres ready and you know what you're doing and you don't make those, you know, those little fumbles, those little mistakes that can cost a driver.
As you were saying as well, obviously, we're now without tyre warmers, which we've had in the past in World Touring Car era, and that also brings a new element to this, because it's not just getting a clear lap, you've also got to get the temperature in, and then it makes spacing when you go and when you have the clear run in front of you, it makes that a little bit more challenging as well.
And 25 full season entries, 2 wild cards. We have the option for those at any of our races. We have 2 here. We already know who one of the wild cards is for the Nordschleife of the Nürburgring. René Rast, the reigning DTM champion, will be out in a TCR car. He'll be in a 3rd WRT run Audi, so he'll be in the same garage as the Lukoil Leopard cars of TCR champion Jean-Carl Vernet and British Touring Car champion Gordon Shedden. It'll be in a different livery, and it's already been unveiled. If you look on your social media feed, go to Touring Car Times or to the FIA WTCR website, you should see that. So that's one of the 2 potential cars, and hopefully there will be another wild card for the Nordschleife. You never know, might be a couple for Zandvoort as well. The potential is to have up to 2 for any of the World Series events. So cars heading out on track then, and it is still a 30-minute clock running, so we've got 29 minutes to go as they head out on their first formation lap. And Neil Hudson tells us it's the Kia Lotus, otherwise known as the Kia Picanto in other markets. So there you go. Need not detain us any longer as we get ready for qualifying. And we talked about this earlier, Harry. For the teams that are familiar with the TCR International Series, the tyre is different, a lot of the tracks are different. For the teams that are familiar with the World Touring Car Championship, the tyre is the same, the track's the same, but the cars are comprehensively different. So nobody's got a handle on everything, and it is how well you deal with that. And particularly if you're not used to the tyre and car combination, and that's everybody, you've got to work out how you bring in the tyre, how fast you bring it up to temperature, how hard you use it, because that affects its life after qualifying and in racing.
Absolutely, and even the guys who were here last year in similar machinery and similar teams, the tyre squish, it's called, which is how much the tyre compound compresses under load when you hit the brakes, when you go over a bump. That's very different on this Yokohama than we saw in TCR with the Michelin last year. Yep. It's a slightly softer compound as well, which is why we've already seen the lap record being broken in free practice. So here we'll really actually see how fast what everyone's got up their sleeve.
Well, first man to start a flying lap is the reigning World Touring Car champion Ted Bjerk, or at least for the moment we should say the last World Touring Car champion Ted Bjerk. And in fact he's not starting a flying lap. It looked like a quick one, but he's still working a bit of heat into the tyres.
It goes back to what we were saying about how hard you put the temp in. You can see he's just lightly weaving around there. He's not caning the tyres, because obviously they've got to make these 24 tyres last for the whole weekend, and there's a lot of running to be done. And obviously the better you can keep them, it follows into the following weekend as well. So yeah, it's really critical how you put the temperature in. We saw in World Touring Car a little bit, even with the tyre warmers, by the end of their outlap, they had to be really careful not to push in the final sector too hard, because it meant, you know, in the start of your actual flying lap, you could sort of take the maximum out of that final sector out of your tyre.
Well, Ted Björk still weaving. Ivan Muller showing as a purple time at the moment, the fastest man in the first sector. But now that honour goes to Esteban Guerrieri. Looking here at Aurelian Panis, getting all crossed up into turn one. Well, that won't be helping the tyres at all.
Yeah, that's the worry. You push a little bit too hard too soon, and you can sometimes, somewhere like here, which is obviously a clockwise circuit, your back right tyre obviously doesn't have the temperature your front left does, and you can feel like you've got the grip, but the first time you really need to rely on it, you don't actually know if you have it there and if it's going to give up, or whether it'll support you through the left-handers.
Well, here's Ivan on a quick lap, catches his teammate in just the wrong place at turn 13, so he had to take a very compromised line through there. He was quicker in sector 2 by a fraction than Esteban Guerrieri. Guerrieri in a Munich Motorsport Honda. And Jan Erlache also on a quick lap. Muller goes fastest of all, 153.67. Nowhere close to where we were earlier on. Qualifying record for a TCR car, 152.74. So we're 9 tenths away from that at the moment. Benjamin Lessen in one of the Boutsen Gignon cars. That's also a Honda, and he's the man who's standing in for Thiago Monteiro at the moment. Esteban Guerrieri comes across the line, third fastest. Ivan Muller is fastest. Nephew Jan Erlache second fastest. So far, the front row of the grid will be all Alsatian. And then there'll be an Argentine and Norbert Naj fourth fastest. Looking here at the youngest man, second youngest man in the field. This is Attila Tassi in the KCMG Honda, one of our wild cards. And as I said, they'll be running him and Josh Files, the two-time TCR Germany champion in the TCR Europe Series. In the two KCMG cars, ably assisted by Yas Engineering.
Nobody out there seems to really be on a flyer as such, are they? No one's putting in outright best sector times.
No, they're getting the bankers in now, aren't they? Let's take a look at Tassi in the Hell Racing Honda. Hell Racing, you see what I did there? That's very good of them, well done indeed. Hell Racing, I like that.
So obviously had that lap disqualified.
Yes, unfortunately, car number 19, that was Attila Tassi, or Attica as he is known, because he's young and little. And
we just saw that. That was obviously it's a big issue here, because there's a few areas where you can run all four wheels either inside the white line or outside the white line, and that's exactly what we just saw there. And guys are going to have to be careful of that in qualifying, because we've seen it all morning in free practice.
Yeah, turn 4, turn 9, turn 11 are the key places. In the Cooper garage of Team Ascaro, that's John Philippi, and behind him you can see there with the bronze highlights, Pepe Oriola, the youngest man ever to win a World Touring Car race. In fact, the youngest man ever to start a World Touring Car race as well, come to that. You sort of forget how young, because he's been around so many years, how young Pepe still is.
Yeah, I mean, Pepe will be early 20s?
Yeah, 23. Lap 3 for car 66 disallowed, and that is Zengo Motorsports Salt Szabo. So his quick lap drops him down to now 10th place as James Thompson goes third quickest. And into the pit lane comes Denis Dupont. Didn't quite find out why the Belgian supported Audi stopped in free practice 1. Let's take a look here on board with Norbert Mikelic. There's the tyre stacks inside at the chicane. So this is corner 6 and 7. And turn 8, you don't want to run off track, but turn 9, the quick right-hander, this is a really key corner, Harry, because it sets up the last part of the lap, basically.
Yeah, and then obviously that gives you, it depends on your run down the straight, which is downhill as well here, so obviously it is critical. But yeah, I mean, obviously on a bit of a flyer here, fastest first sector of anyone.
Keeps it clean in 11, only 2 wheels over the white line. And up the hill to turn 12, 13, 14. This is where you climb the last part of the lap.
Best second sector of everybody too.
Tarquini's just gone quickest in the other blue and orange Hyundai. So 1:53.0 for Gabrielli, still 3/10 away from the fastest. Andrea Adamo there with a bit of a frown. Across the line, Norbert Mikelic. Purple, 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 a 52.644, so he's inside the TCR qualifying record, despite 45-degree track temperatures. So Norby and Gabriele Tarquini, the teammates, first and second. There's Daniel Nudge. Where's he at the moment? He's down in 23rd. That's in the Myra run car, not the British-based Test and Development Centre, Motor Industry Research Association Centre. But in fact, it is Norman Mikulic's team. That's a second consecutive lap disallowed for Zolt Szabo for infringement of track limits at turn 11. So they need to get on the radio and tell him about that.
Yeah, you'll have to be careful. We've seen a few guys got steward warnings after the second free practice for keep on doing the same thing and keep running wide at the same corner. And I think it was put down as ignoring the race official. But yeah. Obviously got one of the alphas there, Morbidelli.
Morbidelli, the quicker of the two in the second free practice session. He was in the top 10 till right at the very end, got eased down to 12th. He is currently 9th fastest. Gianni Morbidelli and his teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi. Combined age of the drivers in that team, 101. On board with Rob Huff, 2012 World Touring Car Champion. One of only two men in the field in the Volkswagen Golf GTI. The Golf was one of the dominant forces in the TCR International Series last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
ended up winning the title with Jean-Carl Vernet.
P4 overall there, but yeah, I mean, I kind of thought there would have been a little bit more than that in there, but perhaps that was just his first, like you say, a banker qualifying lap. He's been out there, that was at the end of his the end of his third lap.
Yeah.
Start his fourth now, so now's the time to really push on.
Well, he's now got shuffled down the pack by Ted Björk, who's just gone third fastest. Mehdi Benani up to 7th, the other Golf. And car 27, I know now that is John Philippi. So his lap has just been disallowed. Track limits at turn 11. So everybody at turn 11. There's Rob's mum in the background. Dad's here as well. His girlfriend sitting down watching the screen. Everybody so far has gone out on fresh rubber except for the initial run from Ted Björk and Ivan Muller. Björk's and Muller's lap now both set on new front tyres. And what you tend to do, Harry, is instead of just throwing 4 at it, you put the fresh tyres on the front, because they do everything, don't they? The back wheels just stop the exhaust dragging on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You want the freshest tyres on the front, especially somewhere like this, which has really long radius corners. It's an understeery nature of the tarmac as well, so somewhere like this, you definitely need something a bit stronger on the front. And your right rear here literally does next to nothing. So yeah. It's three very important tyres, but more so the front.
So you cycle the more used fronts onto the back, and when you need a lap, you go for the fresh ones. Here's Gordon Shedden, Flash as he's known in the trade. Green first sector, so a best lap for him. So this is his first tentative, his first flying lap.
3/10 down though against Michelin's first sector.
Yeah, so. And there's traffic in front. There's a couple of cars falling over each other.
Yeah, that's gone wrong. He's lost two full seconds in sector 2, yeah. So unfortunately I think that's...
We had a big lift out of it there because there was a slow Golf. You saw Benani trying to weave a little bit more heat into the tyres. And maybe he got up to turn 4 or 5 and was finding, okay, haven't got the grip yet. Right, here we go. Now build up to speed, beginning of this lap. He needs to find something. He needs to get one in the bank at least. You don't want to be starting even one race down in the 20s where he is now. Behind him, I think he's got Aurélien Comte in the rather speedy little Peugeot. This is Benjamin Lessen, currently 10th fastest. Don't forget, there's no reverse grid, there's no jiggery-pokery here. Where you finish this qualifying session is where you start today's race 1. Tomorrow, whole new day, everything changes again. Well, they're in the Boots and Gignon garage. You saw Thiago Monteiro.
Lassen P5.
Lassen, good lap from him. Very good lap from him. And that's, they found him a good bit of traffic, or good bit of clear tarmac. So there was traffic coming out in front of him there. So he's on a slowing down lap, as the cars in front were due to speed up. Denis Dupont had a bit of a tough baptism of fire in the World Touring Car Cup in Marrakesh. In fact, frankly, the whole Come To You team did. They could do with finding a little bit more pace and consistency in the Audis. You see Dupont 23rd, teammate Berton 24th, Frederick Vervisch 16th. Best Audi at the moment, Jean-Carl Vernet, who is in 13th. Let's see what Rob Huff and the team have to say.
Car felt quite good balance, but I don't know whether the front tyre pressures came up too much, too fast. Okay, copy. We can decrease a bit for the next run.
So the question is, because he'll be getting too much understeer, and that means is there too much air in the tyre when it's cold, and as it heats up, is it then going over their desired pressure? He gets whisked into the weighbridge, so they'll lose another couple of minutes there. Part of that, obviously, excuse me.
Yeah, it's very difficult because you need to start with a high pressure to get the temperatures up. Like, they're not coming out of the airbags, like we said, so the heat bags, sorry. So they're having to start with a high enough temperature to get the initial pressures and temperatures right. But then, as the lap progresses, if you've started slightly too high, you can end up missing your golden lap, which I guess is kind of what Rob's saying there. He's obviously struggling from a lot of front end lack of grip.
Well, and the other thing, of course, is that the track temperature was 20 degrees in free practice 1. It's now 45 degrees in free practice 2, and still climbing because it is still a very sunny day. So that helps to rob you of a bit of front end grip, and you get that wash out of the front tyre as well. So somewhere the engineers got to translate that I've got too much understeer as is pressure going to solve it? And there's only one way to find out, which is to drop it half a bar or a pound or half a pound even, maybe. You make a fine adjustment and see whether he gets that grip back. If you can chase the track with tyre pressure, then you might find a better lap that others don't.
And obviously with first time we're seeing the guys running on probably a sticker tyre, so what they learned this morning, very different track on a very different set of rubber, so that's the few main things at play there.
Everybody is chasing to dial out understeer. Ted Björk, I was going to say at Volvo, at YMR is having a front-end setup change as well. New fresh front tyres going on for Ted Björk, who's currently third fastest. Ivan Muller's just left the pits as we watch Pepe Oriola in the Campos Racing Cupra. Another track limits infringement again at turn 11.
That time for Norbert Michelitz, actually. Yeah.
We've just seen Mehdi Benani lose a lap, and 86, which is Esteban Guerrieri, has just lost a lap, which leaves him back down in 10th. So Norby fastest from Gabrielli, third Ted Björk, fourth Ivan Muller, fifth DNY, Daniel Nagy. It's pronounced Nagy, even though it's got a Y on the end. Benjamin Lessen, 6th, Rob Huff, 7th, Jan Erlaché, 8th, James Thompson, 9th, and in 10th place now Esteban Guerrieri on that previous best lap. Then 16th, Jean-Carl Vernet, not sure what happened to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's go outside the top 10. Coronel's 11th, I think that's the first time he's been on timing screen 1 all day. Norbert Nagy for Zengo Motorsport in 12th. 13th Fabrizio Giovanardi, 14th Nat Berton, 15th Gianni Morbidelli, then 16th Jean-Carl Vernet, then Aurélien Comte ahead of Jean-Philippe and Aurélien Panis, 20th Frederick Vervisch, then Matto Hommler, Pepe Oriola, Gordon Shedden, Zolt Szabo, Denis Dupont, Mehdi Benani, 26th out of 27, and Attila Tassi is 27th. Tassi was much quicker than that this morning, much quicker than he's gone now, but he's only done a couple of outlaps. He's not actually put together one proper lap.
It certainly seems like the VAG group cars are struggling a little bit when you look at the timing screen. They tend to be a little bit further down. Highest up, obviously, is Rob Huff there in 8th.
Which was 4th when he did it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And they just seem to be getting jumped, and it seems to be they're all on the second page of the timing screen at the moment.
Well, Guerrieri's just put in another quick lap in his Honda, the same colour as this one of Jan Erlacher. In fact, is that him in front? Or is that Tomo in front? No, that'll be Guerrieri because he was slowing down. So Guerrieri's gone 4th, Erlacher now down to 9th. And this is what I said at the beginning, that this is straightforward, old-fashioned qualifying, and last man across the line will probably have pole position because the times are evolving, the drivers and the cars are getting quicker, they're dialing in the setup a little better, and the laps, Esteban Guerrieri went up to 4th, lost that lap, got another lap in that also put him up in 4th. So, you know, he's got that speed in the car.
A lot of the guys up there in the front there, up to about 8th or 9th, kind of, a lot of those guys are in the pits or pitting in or on the way back out of the pit. So it looks like we're going to see a second run here, a second stab at this set of qualifying on perhaps newer or slightly different rubber. Or
maybe a third stab. I think they'll probably not bother taking the time to change the rears, but if they're going to put a fresh tyre on, it will be only on the fronts. You saw Phil Barker there at YMR, a name that Ivan Muller will know well from RML days. And Muller goes 4th fastest to jump Guerrieri by massive 93 thousandths of a second. That's very nearly a 100th.
Yeah, it's pretty close up there, isn't it?
Very nearly a 10th, rather, yeah. Well, apart from Mikulits to Tarquini, which is 444, so 444 thousandths, so 4 tenths, basically, and nearly a half. Then Ted Björk is 22 hundredths behind in 3rd, then 14 hundredths back to Muller, 93 thousandths back to Guerrieri, 14 hundredths to Naj, 28 thousandths behind him is Lessen. So there are some very close gaps. Erlacher 9th behind Huff by 25 thousandths of a second. Filippi 13th behind Bonani by 68 thousandths, and behind him Tom Coronel by 40 thousandths. I mean, they're tiny margins.
That's why this platform bodes so well for such good racing, doesn't it? They're so a little bit too close there for Bjork. It's taken his full wing off as well, the front wing, so that'll have damaged his tracking and his steering, so I'm guessing that's him done for qualifying.
Well, he's just gone 2nd fastest, so he's closed the gap from 0.444 to 0.419. But, as you say, substantially rearranged the car. With 9.5 minutes, they can put a new panel on or not bother. It's probably not an excludable bit, but whether it's still steering in the right direction remains to be seen.
That'll be the problem, and you'll definitely knock your tracking if you hit the tyre stack like that, especially on the inside there. You've got a little bit of lock on, so the inside of your tyres protruding a bit as well. It's got bent steering components written all over it.
27 car entry, 7 cars currently on track, and 2 have just left the pits, so that's 9. So the remaining 18 are sitting in the pit lane having bits done to them for the last hurrah, and we've got just under 9 minutes left. It's going to get very busy very soon, isn't it?
I think so.
So Benjamin Lessen, I think he's in a good window of opportunity here, goes 4th fastest for Boutsen-Gignon in his Honda Civic. Debris on track at turns 4 and 6. Well, in that case, Ted Björk's is the bit at turn 6 where he twonked the tyres. Don't know who's left what at turn 4. Double waved yellows. We now going to go to full course yellow. We are going to full course yellow. Let's hear what Norby and the team have to say.
Right now, Björk is not improving. He's not faster than us, also Miller. So we wait, if needed, till 4 minutes to go for the last attempt. If there is no need, we don't go out again, okay?
Well, there you go, sit pretty. Full course yellow, that means anybody who'd started the lap, that'll be kiboshed. So you've now you don't have the option of sort of trying to keep the heat in your tyres either. You've got to a maximum of 80 k's. It was John Filippi who's the second victim of the tyre stack. Right front, broken steering arm.
Quite a lot of damage there, I think.
That's the habitual Seat problem, isn't it? Carcass. So that's the wheel arch liner and the wheel arch. And they're now moving the tyres as well under full course yellow. That means everybody's on the speed limiter at 80 k's, allows marshals to do their job in complete safety.
Not surprised at that radio message for Michelic as well,
Yeah.
because, you know, he's 4/10 ahead there. He doesn't really need to take anything out of any more tyres. So.
And that was even before the full course yellow came out. I mean, by the time this goes back in, that 4-minute window will be there.
Yeah.
So suddenly, actually, qualifying might have ended with everybody sitting in the pit lane having changes made. I think, was that a flashy yellow? Was that Coronel going by?
I think so.
Coronel's just had suspension changes and fresh tyres fitted. But Philippi's going nowhere, is he?
No, that's a lot of damage, isn't it? It looks like a bottom arm's broken or something.
Yeah.
The way that wheel's so far forward in the arch. Yep, there's Coronel, you're right.
Yeah, and Banani, and I suggest that was Huff we caught a very brief glimpse of going out of the pits as well. What does our timing screen show us? No, it doesn't show Huff out. So Giovanardi's gone out, Morbidelli's gone out, the Alphas. Flash has gone out, Gordon Shedden. And boy, doesn't he need to. He doesn't want to be starting this race in 25th place.
4 minutes is what what we heard Michelitz's engineer saying on the radio, so perhaps that's...
Well, we're
that's
fully
your last.
green, and we've got 6 minutes left, so
Yeah.
there is plenty of time. Out goes Nat Berton, out goes Giovanardi, we've documented that. Attila Tassi's gone out, Aurelian Panis has gone out. I can say Aurelian now, look, see? And Mato Homola. Yeah, OK, so now it's abandon pits, everybody who can, and get out on track and pray that nobody squishes your lap. Air Lachet's gone out, Guerrieri's gone out. Who won't? Norby won't. I'd be very surprised if they even bother. Ted Björk second, but only 25 thousandths behind Tarquini, and Tarquini, even as we speak, is going out of the pits, and that forces Björk's hand, really, doesn't it? He has to go out.
It does a little bit, but then it depends if he's going to be happy on, you know, in the top three, or is he concerned about Lucen as well and Muller? You know, you never know. It depends really what their expectations are, but yeah, if you're Björk, it's a difficult situation because you probably should be back out on track and circulating.
He has to. And Alex has just told us from the pit that Björk has gone out, but he's still got that bit of missing wheel arch. But that'll be less of a problem to him than Tarquini going faster, and Lucen, and Muller, and Guerrieri, and Huff, and because they're all out there, and they're all going for a lap. And it's not this lap either. So actually, the way to cover this is to follow them all round. John Philippi's done. Is to follow them all round on the warm-up lap and then basically have a camera locked off shot down the straight, watching them all come across the line, and we'll just call the times as they come across the line. Because that's where it's, you know, if you try and find the pole lap, you're going to miss it, no question.
So Björk obviously is back out on track, so maybe they feel there isn't enough damage on that front steering component as perhaps expected, or maybe they've managed to stringline it as best they can.
Exactly so, or just get on with it, you know. I mean, the gaps are tiny, though, so any little bit of too much toe out is actually going to have a fairly detrimental effect. OK, so Gordon Shedden, one of the first to try and bring the car up to speed out of turn 11. And this is his out lap, don't forget. So he will start the fast lap, and there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in the pits. Call that 6, call that 5. Norby may be, along with John Philippi, the only person still in the pits at the end of this minute. Well, let's see where we get to. First tilt from Gordon Shedden. Empty road in front of him. Should be no mimsing, meandering traffic. There's his wife in the middle of the shot. Looks like his mum and dad are here as well. Norby is going out, really, with 3.5 minutes left. So John Philippi will be the only man in the garage. Fast sectors coming in from Coronel and Banani early in the lap. There's Mehdi, there's Tom behind him. Banani in a Golf and Coronel in a Honda.
Bill Asher's first sector was very, very good there.
Yeah. 40.29 is the quickest first sector we've got so far. So on board with Mehdi Banani. Track limits for car 25 at lap 10. That's Mehdi Banani. So this lap is garbage. So he needs to do another one after this. 2 minutes 48 seconds. It's a 1 minute 50 lap. So he's got another lap to do it in. And there may be, you know, it might be 2 minutes after we get to the checkered flag before we know who's got the fastest lap. So who's gone purple? No one yet. Personal best laps coming in from Air Lachet, Thompson, Verne. Guerrieri goes up to second. Fastest last sector of all. Air Lachet up to fifth. Tarquini's middle sector not great. And Norby is out of the pits. Only John Philippi not having a tilt at this. John Philippi currently 14th. I'm writing that down, 14th. So we can see where he ends up, having missed out on the last lap. This lap for Gianni Morbidelli won't count either. James Thompson, top 10. Ted Björk, 3rd at the moment. Tarquini, 4th. There's Andrea Adamo, watching Andrea Adamo, watching Andrea Adamo, watching Andrea Adamo. When he'd rather see the cars.
Still no purple sectors. It doesn't look like the track's got it in it, to be honest.
Well, there was one at the end of the lap from Guerrieri. Sector 3, he was fastest of all in. You just saw a slow Ted Björk coming back into the pits. There was a slow Alfa in front of him. Not sure where that is. Black and white flag for car 19, which is Attila Tassi for track limits. So that's a warning rather than losing a lap. Ooh, flying stuff from Huff. You can really see from the body language of the car, even from the onboard, how hard he's pushing it. He's got a Zengo Motorsport. What are they this year? Honda? Yes, in front. Not sure which one. Oh, look at that. He's really ragging it. Quarter of a second away in the first sector. But look at that. Daniel Madge. 2.248 away, so he's only 8,000 slower than Huff. Fastest first sector of all for Benjamin Lessen by 6 thousandths quicker than Norbert Michelis. I'd say this teenager, Benjamin Lessen, I never heard of him before this year, but boy, he's arrived with a bang. Guerrieri's into the pit lane. Huff
standing in for Thiago Montero, and he's doing a fantastic job.
He is doing a great job. Huff, not a great second sector. I think he'd run out of tyre by that stage. Coronel 12th at the line, and Huff no improvement.
Lesen's, he's done another great second sector. Depending on what he does in the third sector here, he could be on for pole here.
Wow, fantastic stuff. For a front row start would be very impressive indeed. And 66 losing another lap from track limits, and that's Zolzabo. That's 3 in this session alone. Checkered flag is out. They're on their last laps. Benjamin Lessen, well, the last sector went away from him. He didn't improve, but he has taken the checkered flag. Here's Norby. Lots of body English from this car as well. Look at the way the Hyundai dives under braking. Get all that weight on the front tyres. Slow the car down as effectively as possible. Black first sector, black second sector. It's not a better lap from Norby, and he'll roll into the pit lane here. He's not going to complete the lap. And he doesn't need to. Guerrieri will start 2nd, Björk 3rd, Tarquini 4th, Lessen 5th, Erlache 6th. But it is pole for Norbert Michelis at home in Hungary. And Andrea Adamo and BRC Racing have another pole position. Well, Boots and Chignon very happy with that. Benjamin Lessen did a very good job indeed. Esteban Guerrieri 2nd in his Honda. So you've got Hyundai on the front row, Hyundai on row 2, Honda on row 3, Hyundai on row 4, then Volkswagen, Honda on row 5, and all British row 5, Rob Huff and James Thompson.
It's quite a long way down the order again, down to Benani, isn't it, till you can get to the next VAG car.
Well, no, Jean-Carl Vernet in 11th is the best of the Audis.
Sorry, yes.
And then Nat Berton 13th. So Vernet is a WRT Audi. Nat Berton in 13th is the best of the Come To You Audis. And I don't know, wild stab in the dark. I'm thinking the crowd might be liking that.
Yes, I think so. I think Norby's such a big hero here, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's fantastic to see him get pole. And hopefully he doesn't have any of those car woes that we saw at Marrakesh for him.
Yes,
well.
Absolutely. Well, he's had none so far, and by this stage in Marrakesh on the Saturday, he was already going, oh, come on, really? You know, because his season, you know, he could have been world champion last year, and his season ended with car woes in qualifying in the desert, didn't it, in Qatar? And you know, it just all got snatched away. After a tough middle part of the year, he came right back, and then it just got snatched away at the last. He receives congratulations there from Esteban Guerrieri, who basically is his fellow front row starter and pretty much in the next garage, actually. And Andrea Adamo, the man behind the design of this Hyundai i30 TCR, is a very happy bunny with that. A not bad day for it. Didn't have to wrap up too warm to watch it, did they?
Nope.
Quite enjoyed that. And Benjamin Lessen, now, he has just been told a 5-place grid penalty as well. Now, that might be for component changes since Marrakesh. Now trying to remember back to Marrakesh and think whether he had a crash that damaged anything or an engine blow-up that damaged anything. However, 5th fastest. And then down to 10th. Okay, so it's more recent than that. He is being given a 5-place grid penalty for not respecting the full course yellow, which means he won't have got down to the 80 km/h speed within 5 seconds of it being announced. So that might have been a radio communication problem. So unfortunately, 5th fastest, he will start 10th, which moves up Erlache, Muller, Naj, and Huff and Thompson. Well, let's hear from our pole man. It is Norbert Mikulis. Expect noise in the background. Here's Alex.
My goodness me, Norby, do you hear the sound of that crowd? And that's not even half of them yet. Congratulations, you are our pole man for race 1.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's only Sunday, but the atmosphere is just amazing. So I would like to say a big thank you to them, because to come so early and to support me in a way like they do is just amazing. Of course, happy with the results. The car was working quite good from the first moment this morning. I had clean laps, and I'm really hoping for a good start.
You had fantastic laps. How does the track feel, and what do you feel like you can do in the race?
To be honest, the track feels a bit low grip. It was all about not doing a mistake. Because of the track being flowing, you better don't overdrive. And I think the key to today's pole position was that I managed to be 99% and not 101 or 2.
You got that key, well done.
Yeah, like you said, he just managed to stitch together the perfect lap, didn't he?
Yeah. And he gets them in and gets them done early, doesn't he? You know, he did in free practice. His fastest lap in FP1 was his first flying lap in FP1, and no one went quicker. Pretty much the same in FP2. And he did it in qualifying there. It went out to cruise around in case he needed to defend, but in the end he didn't. And so it was pretty impressive stuff. Norbert Mikulis, Esteban Guerrieri, the 1-2, ahead of Ted Björk, Gabriele Tarquini, then Jan Erlache and Ivan Muller, the nephew and the uncle, on row 3, ahead of Daniel Naj and Rob Huff, James Thompson, and then the penalised Benjamin Lessen. And behind them, Verne and Coronel, Berton Bernani, Homola Filippi, Naj Giovanardi, Comte, Morbidelli, Tassi Oriola, Hannes Fairvey. It goes on and on, doesn't it? It's fantastic. I mean, this is fantastic. Really unfortunate, though, for Gordon Shedden, starting in 25th. Well, that's it for qualifying. Join Harry Folkard, Alex Le Guy and me, Martin Haven, with the rest of the WTCR TV crew for our first race of the weekend. And that gets underway just after 3 p.m. local time. So join us. That is 1300 Greenwich Mean Time, 1400 British Summer Time, 1500 Central European Time. We'll be here, ready for action, UB2. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you then. Bye for now.